Well, hello everybody. I know that I haven't made a Minecraft related video in a good hot minute, but as you know, also I haven't shown you this world at all. So, fault on me. I always mean to record when I'm building something and then I never do. That being said though, I did decide to build this, and more importantly, it was always a plan to build a boat on these docks. I will show off this world at another time, I promise. But you actually get to watch the process of this being built. So, if you don't mind, I think it's time for a time lapse. Okay, so while we're starting to watch this video, I would like to first and foremost apologize for the formatting, and by that I mean the sporadic camera movements. I'm still learning replay, and this was a fantastic experiment for me. Also, I was trying to keep up with myself, who, as it would turn out, is a sporadic builder. So there's that for one thing. But as I get familiar with replay mod and get familiar with how to build when I'm recording, these videos I'm sure will get better. I can absolutely assure you of that. So anyway, on to talking about the build itself. As you saw from the first clip, there is like a whole world just wrapped around this one build, the docks. But when I was conceptualizing building the sailboat, the ship, whatever you want to call it, because it's not really big enough to be a ship, but I mean it is a ship, I don't know. Anyway, it's a sailboat. When it came to actually wanting to build it, I was looking at the dock one day, and I realized I wanted to build a blue boat. More of a turquoise was what crossed my mind. I don't know why exactly. I think it's just because it was a color palette I've never really played with before. But so I went into an experimental world where I have all of my test builds. I don't usually test build something before I commit to it in one of my worlds, but this time I wanted to, just to play around with the color palette, and I can tell you right here and now that ship and this ship are very different looking. I did not decide to stick with the format that I did for the one in my test world. I went with something a bit different, but the color scheme is pretty much the same. I used all of the same-ish blocks. I think I just arranged them differently, and that actually worked out because this ship, in my personal opinion, looks really, really good. Basically, the purpose of this boat in this world, there were two farmers who started the farm together, and they've got characters. It's a bit confusing and I don't really want to get into it right now, but basically and essentially they started this plot of land, and they started by building a massive farm for God knows what. Literally nobody can tell. It's just the one guy was like, I want as big of a plot of plant growth as I can get, and the other one was like, alright, cool, I'm gonna go get some animals. And there's a farm with the animals next-ish to the what's it called? I don't know, where all the plants grow. Anyway, garden? It's too big to be a garden. Anyway, farm, I guess. But eventually, this starts drawing the attention of others, and somebody approaches the more communicative of the two farmers and is like, hey, so we were wondering if you would at all be open to letting us in at some point. And of course this one's like, oh yeah, that'd be awesome, we could like build our own economy and all that. And the other one's like, no, I wanted all of this for myself, cause of course. So anyway, eventually just more stuff gets built. Not all of it has an actual story wrapped around it, because as creative as I can be, I'm not that creative. And admittedly enough, all of the other buildings really don't pertain to the boat. So I mean, they do, because literally the ships are how people get there, got there, whatever, but that's still those buildings may or may not have story evolved into them at a later point. Right now, it is still, once again, about the boat. and I have 10 more minutes to kill of trying to talk about this damn thing, and I really cannot come up with much to say other than I guess we're done talking about story implications for the build, and instead I'm just going to ramble on to you about how when I first started playing Minecraft, my brother got the official how-to books, and I was looking through the building one because that's the only thing I could do. It's still kind of the only thing I can do. And I saw the boat, and everything else in this book was like, meh, that's a bit too big for me, that's a bit too small for me, that's boring. I saw the boat and I was like, ooh, boat! And so I wanted to try and build this boat, and I followed the book to the letter, except I didn't read a damn word. I instead was looking at the pictures and trying to put it together from there. And it came out okay. I guess I was really happy with it at the time. I don't have that world anymore. That kind of got caught up in the annual purging of the Minecraft worlds, which wasn't really annual, but it literally happened every single time my brother's Xbox would update. Our worlds would just vanish into oblivion. So unfortunately I don't have that to look back on, which is a damn shame. And I would look back on it now to see how much I've improved, because I've been building boats pretty much ever since then, and even though they're all not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, they've all gotten better. And actually, speaking of consoles that I've played Minecraft on, I was actually recently looking at my Nintendo Switch files, and I realized there's an entire town that I have built on one of my Nintendo Switch worlds, and it has a boat. So I'm probably going to have to do a comparison of all the boats that I have record of building, because they do keep getting better. I will admit that the bigger boats are easier to build, which sounds insane, but they're easier. I don't know what to tell you. They're just easier to build if they're bigger. So building boats became one of my favorite things to build, and every time that I can think of a good place to put a boat, I'm going to put a boat. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point, if I ever join a survival SMP with some friends or something, the first opportunity that I have to build a boat, I'm gonna build a boat. And that actually kind of correlates with another one of my favorite builds to build, which I don't actually have any real record of, but I should definitely build it for a video at some point. I always think about it every time I start a new world, like, oh yeah, I could build that again. So I'm not being too descriptive about it because it's kind of really hard to explain, especially with the original idea for it, but that's definitely going on the list of things I need to make a recording of and build, because that sounds actually really fun, actually. Look forward to that, I suppose. Anyway, boats. Yes, I don't know what a quote-unquote traditional sailboat or ship would look like on the inside. I just know that from what I watched of Pirates of the Caribbean, the captain's quarters is meeting room, planning room, also only for the captain, and sometimes is a bedroom. I almost put a bed in there, but I decided against it. I put the bed in the bottom of the ship, which is the storage area, because that makes sense to me. Anyway, I should probably look at some references on how the interior of a boat looks at some point. Anyway, this part is actually quite interesting, this part of the video. I've never really played around with sails on a ship. I always end up building them as tied up, because have you ever tried to build an organic looking sail on a boat? It's not easy. I don't know when I first started actually playing around with it, because what you see literally right here is where I would have left it a few years ago, but I started adding on to it because I wanted a more organic look. Go figure. And I'm actually pretty happy with how it turned out. Obviously, you'll see in a second, but I totally restarted when I realized I was not happy with where it was going. But because of when I first built my very first Minecraft boat, I couldn't get the sail right, so I instead just opted to keep all of my ships looking like they were tied up and docked, which I should actually probably put a anchor on this one at some point, but that didn't occur to me until literally right now. So that will probably happen, maybe after I'm done recording this audio and I'm satisfied with it. That being said though, I have no clue what to talk about now. I think I have filled as much space as I can. My brain is pulling a major blank. The only other thing I can think to add really is that this was an experience. I think this build took me about an hour and 45 minutes to do, and I would like to at some point, I don't know, I guess at some point I would just like to I've already said I want to get better at this mod and the whole Minecraft recording thing, because that's just fun to me. It really truly is. I will definitely show off this world. You know what? I think that's gonna be the next thing regarding this world, is just kind of doing a tour of it. And I will probably take this world and do some comparisons with my other worlds, because the builds are not necessarily better, but I can take a note out of my own book and now several other people's books about continuing worlds. Like, if I do a compare and contrast, maybe I'll be less likely to abandon my worlds in the future. There's one world that I have that I've shown off before that I really like, and I just haven't touched it in a good long while because I haven't really had any need or interest, and I feel like that's because I committed to it so much that I just kind of lost it. Also, this is a great example of replay mod not doing what you wanted it to do. This was not in my tracking when I exported this video. I absolutely promise that I will get better at this before too long. I just need to play around with it some more. I need more practice in recording, because who doesn't? And with that, because I think I've only got about a minute's left of this video, I could be wrong, I don't know, I think I'm going to just leave you here, because the video is now, for the most part, pretty much complete. Yeah, see, there was the bed I almost placed in here. This actually ended up becoming just an office, sort of. Maybe, I don't know. But it's, yeah, that is the story. That is the passion and direction of this. And this rambling has just become genuinely just rambling. So enjoy the rest of the video, enjoy the final shots, and I will leave you with that. Have a good day, y'all. See you later. Bye.